for all of you who are new, and I am a new mom to my 8-month-old daughter. Today, I am going to tell you how I make all of my daughter's baby food. So there are a couple reasons why I decided to make my daughter's baby food. One, I thought it would be cheaper, and it is. Two, my husband and I are generally clean eaters, so basically we eat everything in its most natural state. We don't really buy processed foods or anything like packaged products. It just makes sense that we were gonna be conscious about what we were gonna be feeding our daughter. Also, if you're anything like me, you've probably seen those horror stories of the stuff that people find in their baby food, whether it be mold, bugs, or maggots. That is pretty disgusting, and I'd rather just take the time to make my own baby food instead of finding that nice surprise for me when I'm feeding my daughter. It pretty much seemed easy. I mean, from what I read, all you had to do was boil or bake the food and throw it into a food processor. So that's what I decided to do. So the only products that I actually bought to start making her baby food was this silicone container ice cube tray thing. When you make the food and you blend it up, you just pour it into this little tray. I believe it's 2 ounces per cube, and it has a lid. Just goes on top like this, and you stick it in your freezer. When it's hardened, you can pop them out. And what I actually do is I saran wrap each little block and put it into a Ziploc baggie. And that's how I store my baby food. This is actually from Kid Fido, and I got it from Amazon for a couple bucks. I got 2 trays. If you plan to make a lot at once, you may need a couple trays because it does take about 24 hours for the food to get solid to be able to pop it out of these trays. I just take a weekend and make 2 goes of food. This has 9 cubes in it, and then I have another one, so that's a total of 18 cubes that I can make at once, and it's worked for me so far. I haven't had to get a 3rd tray. The second thing I bought was for storage. These little OXOs containers, they come in a little tray. They come 4 in a set, or I think there was a 2 set on Amazon. Just have a little lid. And I use these to put the frozen food in to send to the babysitters. So Nora goes to the babysitters during the day, and this is just how I send her food. Now that I showed you what I bought, why don't we just go ahead and jump on into how I make my baby food. Today I'm going to make broccoli, peas, and some sweet potatoes. I will need 2 pots, a steaming basket, a pan, some Reynolds wrap, and a blender. I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven to 400 degrees for the sweet potatoes, then just start cutting up my broccoli after I've washed it off and placing it into the steam basket on the pot on top of the stove. I'll add a little bit of water, put the lid on top, and let that cook. Next, I will put the peas into a pot with some water to let them boil on the stove while I move on to the sweet potatoes. The peas are going to stay on for about 5 to 10 minutes, not very long. For the sweet potatoes, I washed them off. Now I'm just poking holes into them and wrapping them up in Reynolds wrap to put into the oven. The sweet potatoes will be in the oven for about an hour to an hour and a half, depends on how large your sweet potatoes are. Now I'm going to check on my broccoli and my peas to see where we're at. The peas look like they are done, so I'm going to go ahead and start scooping them out into the blender. Now you're going to want to make sure that you don't add too much water initially to the blender. You can always add water, but you can't always take water out. So blend your peas first to see what kind of consistency you have, and if you would like it a little bit thinner, go ahead and add more water to get it to the consistency you prefer. Once you have it to the consistency you like, you will just go ahead and pour the peas into your Kid Fido trays. Now I'm going to check to see if the broccoli's done, to see if it's soft to the touch, and it is, so I will go ahead and dump the broccoli into the blender. Again, check the consistency first before you add any extra water. Once you get it to the consistency you prefer, pour into the kid Fido trays. Now I'm going to check on my sweet potatoes. I just stick them with a fork to see if they are soft the whole way through before I pull them out of the oven. They've been in there for about an hour to an hour and a half. They will be very hot when you get them out, so I will let them sit to cool before I start cutting the ends off. Once they are cool enough, I basically just peel the skins off and throw the potatoes into the blender. I decided to add a little bit of coconut water into this batch of sweet potatoes just to give it a little bit more of a creamier texture, and sweet potatoes are generally a little dry when you put them in the blender. Once I got them to this nice whipped consistency, I scooped out the sweet potatoes and put them into the kid Fido trays again. I actually mixed a little bit of the broccoli with the sweet potatoes since I had a small amount of broccoli left over that did not fill up one cube. Once the cubes are filled, I just pop the lids on top. Now, the lids can be a little tricky and very tedious to get on. That is one thing I do not like about these trays. Once the lid is on, I just stick them in the freezer and they are good to go. So there you have it. It's really pretty simple. Just boil, steam, blend, pour, and you're pretty much done. It's going well for us, and I hope you all decide to make your own baby food if it works for you. I post videos twice a week on new mom tips, how-tos, just general experience I'm having as a new mom. If that's something you're interested in, go ahead and check out my channel. I'll link it right here. And if you feel inclined to, go ahead and subscribe to it. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. I will link that all below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Bye. So I'm just gonna go through my tips on how we made that road trip as smooth as possible with a 7-month-old.